know that I got a big personality and a strong magnetism too, but it often seems to keep good people away from me. I don't know why that is. I got a black and hollow soul and money on my mind. Don't let no one near me unless it pays off in the long run.
Okay, so through this video you're going to see my interview and basically how I feel I could do better, the things I did well on. Initially you might be wondering why that song was picked. You'll probably find out soon that my interview really wasn't very interesting. I think I lacked a lot of the personality that I think I have, hence the big personality song. But through this interview you'll find out, you know, what I did well, what I did quite badly, and how I'm going to improve on it. So we're going to show you a couple of clips, and then I'll reflect on them, and we'll see how we go.
I really think that I can fit that role. So my speciality is, as you can see on my CV, quite proficient using technology, and I've had modules within marketing. I find myself quite creative. So I think using those sort of skills I fit the role quite well.
What are your ambitions or future prospects for this specific job sector?
As I said, I've always done part-time work, so this will be a good opportunity for me to really start my career. I'm not looking for, a 9 to 5 going home, just doing the same job for 10 years. I really am looking to progress as far as I can go. Use the skills I've gained through university, personal experience at work to actually, better myself and climb that ladder. I'm not one of them people who's content and sitting still. I quite like to progress, and I've always liked to be, moving up, and it'd be great to actually have an opportunity to progress.
Okay, so as you saw there, that was my first two questions asked to me. I believe I answered them really well, but I seem to answer them in quite a bit of depth. I think my interviewers were getting a little bit bored there. I answered the question and probably answered it 2 or 3 times. I sort of repeated myself as well while we were rewording it. It was quite clear that I probably took the answer a lot longer than it needs to be. That sort of continues throughout my interview, and if we just quickly speed forward.
Motivates you?
Motivates me. I think, apart from not money, I like to do a good job. I like to take pride in my work, so whatever I do, I like to put my heart into, as it sounds. So I'd do any job to the best of my ability, and I like to, sort of like an artist, when they step back and they look at the picture and they're so proud of what they've done. I like that. I like to, even if it's, just serving customers, or if it's even tidying up, things like that, I like to do a good job. And I think taking pride in my work motivates me, and to see that, that's rewarding itself. Seeing yourself do a good job.
Speaking of that,
Okay, so you just saw him ask me about what motivates me. Now, this was probably the most difficult question in the interview for me. I genuinely had no answer for it, and if you read my reflection, my written reflection, you'll actually see, I contemplate this point, and saying that every single answer I give is extremely corporate. Now, this question was quite personal, and I really struggled to answer it because all I wanted to do was refer back to my working life. So, I talked about what my duties at work were and how I tried to do them to the best of my ability. It doesn't really show you, what actually motivates me. I think here I could have drawn on, a personal story, things that I do outside of work that were tough to do. So, running a marathon, which I did, and other things like that. That would have generated a much better answer than just such a corporate response that was, yeah, I tried to work and do everything I can to the best of my ability. I think I really did struggle to put across my personality within this interview. As you can see so far, I do seem to just natter on.
what is your biggest weakness?
Biggest weakness. I'd probably say I can be over-organised, if that's possible. I sometimes take too much time doing something when it's possible to, just like I said, I'd like to take pride in my work. So maybe I do maybe too much on certain aspects when it's already as good as it can be. I think that's probably the weakest thing. Sort of try to make everything perfect, perfection.
So right there you saw me answer a question that asked me what my biggest weakness was. Now, I answered it in typical response with, a weakness that isn't really a weakness, the typical technique used. But it sort of contradicted what I said earlier, where I said I worked in tough deadlines, quickly change an environment, and then I turn around and say, I actually take a lot of time to do things. Now, the interviewer probably would have picked up on the fact that, I basically just contradicted myself. I think as a response, it was pretty much just off the top of my head, and it would probably better prepare me to actually think of a weakness that can benefit their team, as well as, not just a generic answer which most people say.
What would your best friend say about you? Like skills and attributes?
Probably I'm the sensible one.
Yeah.
Sensible one, but probably comes up with the strangest ideas. So either one will look after him on a night out, or make sure we all get home. But then it'll be me who comes up with the mad activity that we end up doing. So we go karting in the middle of Edinburgh or something that we decide to get the bus up there on the day, and end up in Southend the next day or whatever. And just I'll be the one who comes up with crazy ideas. Although it's we end up the one who ends up carrying them all home. So yeah.
Would you say?
So there you saw me answer a question I think most people would struggle with. What would your best friend say about you? Now, I came straight away with an example of on a night out. Now, I was being interviewed for a professional job in the head office of a marketing department, and they probably don't want to hear about my nights out, so I probably could have done something a bit more constructive, something about how we ran a marathon for charity. Also mentioned how I went to Southend, and I never really went to Southend there, so I did just tell a lie. I really needed to come up with a better response for that sort of question, because it wasn't very professional at all, and it didn't really relate to anything I've actually done of substance in my life. I definitely could have improved on that one.
We look for someone who has drive, determination, good time management. Obviously, works well in a team.
Yeah.
You want to be able to get deadlines, make sure you work hard, you achieve them. Main stuff. Obviously, you want it to be social. You want us to get along with the team. You don't want you issues between staff members. And I think being able to work good in the team is a big attribute to have in a worker.
I agree. Yeah, completely agree with that. To be honest with you, I think it's key. So I've just got a couple more. Right. Yes.
So what you saw me happen there is that the interviewer asked me a question, and I basically ignored him. I just agreed. I genuinely had no answer for that, and a different interviewer probably would have looked at me as say, is that all you've got to say? I really should have come up with some sort of constructive answer or examples where I've actually, shown what he was describing as a driven person. It probably would have been much more useful than just agreeing with him. So that's the end of my reflection. I think you can see what I did well, what I didn't do too great. I've got a lot to learn when it comes to interviews, which I didn't actually know. So thanks a lot for listening, and
I know that I got a big personality and a strong magnetism too, but it often seems to keep good people away from me. I don't know why that is. I got a black and hole, all the money on my mind. Don't let no one near me unless it pays off in the long run. I run things around here and you're part of my staff. I got everything planned and we got goals to reach.